This is a bit this is a bit different. I'm recording this on my phone because the camera's not cooperating, and you can see this too. It's just kind of worked out that way. Yeah, the camera. I'm waiting for another battery to come in because this one's just not cooperating, and yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't cooperating recently. Like how I'm still congested. I was sick earlier this week, just a cold, normal sniffle and cough and everything, and I feel fine now, but I'm just still getting the last of it out. And speaking of not cooperating as well, I'm not recording this on the day I normally would. This is the day after. But one of the cool things is that this morning I read a really interesting devotional, an Oswald Chambers devotional, and it's called The Realm of the Real. And it's really short, so I'm just going to read the whole thing. But his reference verse is Luke 21:19. In your patience possess ye your souls. And Jesus was talking about the signs of the end times in this context. And he basically finishes with that statement of, keep your heads on straight, I guess. So Chambers writes, when a man is born again, there is not the same robustness in his thinking or reasoning for a time as formerly. We have to make an expression of the new life to form the mind of Christ. Acquire your soul with patience. Many of us prefer to stay at the threshold of the Christian life instead of going on to construct a soul in accordance with the new life God has put within us. We fail because we are ignorant of the way we are made. We put things down to the devil inside of instead of our instead of our own undisciplined natures. Every time I read this, I just laugh. It's we put things down to the devil instead of our own undisciplined natures. I just find that hilarious because it's so true. Think what we can do or what we can be when we are aroused. There are certain things we must not pray about. Moods, for instance. Moods never go by praying, moods go by kicking. A mood nearly always has its seat in the physical condition, not in the moral. It is a continual effort not to listen to the moods which arise from a physical condition. Never submit to them for a second. We have to take ourselves by the scruff of the neck and shake ourselves, and we will find that we can do what we said we could not. The curse with most of us is that we won't. The Christian life is one of incarnate spiritual pluck. Incarnate spiritual pluck. True grit, will, and setting your face like flint, as they say. And I like the way that he said it because he used the word mood instead of necessarily emotion or feeling. Because feelings and emotions can be used for practical reasons, I suppose. Like God uses the way that we feel or gives us a conviction about things that though there may not necessarily be a robust explanation or reasoning for it, down the line you can see where scripture might back it up. But of course it's backed up by scripture. Otherwise it's not to be trusted, like we talked about before. But so our mood is like our demeanor about things. So it's the attitude after the emotion. And in this sense, of course, I'm sure he means that our mood is when we get affected by our emotions. The mood of a situation, or the vibe, as they say these days, which is not an objective thing. It's very subjective, it's very fluid, and more often than not, it's our own sin nature, our own undisciplined, untrained selves showing. And so so it needs to be kicked. There's nothing that we should ever do that should just be governed by what feels right because other people do it or because it's generally successful, you know. Because a lot of the things that people talk about and the philosophies that they have on things, like it can make sense at face value, and it can feel, not, there's nothing upfront telling you that that's kind of weird necessarily. But when you think more deeply about it, when you actually ask more questions about things and give more answers, then you find that you're left with more questions than answers a lot of the time when we just go by the mood. There are principles, there are guidelines that we go off of, and evident things in the way that people behave and the way that just personalities are naturally, that ought to tell us, yeah, the mood is not the most important thing. Not that it can't be important, or that it's to be dismissed entirely. I think what his point was is more that they're they're to be submitted, which is a wording that I've used before about our feelings or our emotions. I'm not suppressing my emotions, I'm submitting them to the higher authority, which is God. I'm submitting my mood, subduing it, putting it in subordination, or any other S word. But yeah, I just thought it was cool. I liked it. It was short, it was sweet, to the point. It was funny that I just read it this morning. I didn't intend necessarily to not record yesterday. It just kind of happened that way. And it's following, suit with other things. Because even despite the times that we don't subdue our our will to God, or our feelings to Him, He still has grace, and still works in spite and despite those things, in spite of and despite those things. And like I said in the beginning, He can use them to pull us into a right path. Our spirit, the spirit bearing witness to certain things. And I don't know. Things are too chaotic these days to want to rely on something so chaotic as my own inhibitions, or inclinations. It just, I can just trust God a lot more. But yeah, I think that's about it. I gotta finish up some other things and get this finished. It's probably gonna take a while to get it together, because I gotta take the video from the phone, put it on the computer, which I've never done before. So yeah, I gotta go figure that out. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.